Our last presenter for this session is Steve Liang, who probably needs no introduction to many of the OGC people in this room, and is hopefully, well, he's currently the chair of the SensorThings standard that is hopefully this week going up for approval?
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, okay.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll have that as a new approved standard into the new year. So I'll hand over to him now.
Yes, I know a lot of people are pushing it. Yes, because that's a good sign because you want the standard done, right? But we're doing too many things innovative here, so okay. Anyways, excuses enough. Okay, my name is Steve. I'm going to talk about OGC standard for smart cities and from Internet of Things perspective. And Internet of Things or IoT become a very buzz term, right? So like big data, right? In every conference, every presentation, people have to talk about IoT to be trendy. So anyways, hopefully today I'm going to show you some new perspective or old perspective, but review it, and hopefully we can have some new ideas. Okay, so first thing, why do we need to care? Well, a lot of money. 14.4 trillion, so people, Cisco predicted the net profit of IoT will reach $14.4 trillion by 2020. And do you know how big is 14.4 trillion? It's larger than US GDP. So actually, some people said it's the largest technology market ever. And then there will be 50 billion connected devices by 2020. And that's basically a lot. And why do we need to care about this in this crowd? Because everything has a location. So location information needs to be carefully described. We know that here in this crowd. So no matter outdoor, indoor, geometry, topology, semantics, right? And actually we are the expert in this. And actually, if you look at a lot of the IoT systems or IoT platforms, and you look at how they deal with location information, and then I think you will just laugh about it because they treat everything using lat and long, right? And then well, some people use long lat anyway. But actually, most of the things, or at least half, are indoor. So how do they describe indoor location? Lat long and long lat, right? This shouldn't be the case. And if I attach a sensor to that window, right? And then do we use lat long, long lat to do that? No, we need something more than that. We need some semantics, right? So actually we are the expert and we have the standard to describe that. So this is our opportunity, the geospatial people's opportunity, yes. And then actually for technology, I think my supervisor told me that, when we have technologies which is cheaper, better, and faster, and then it's a disruptive. And if you look at IoT, it's cheaper, it's better, and faster. So this is a disruptive technology. So what you're looking at right now here, which is a microcontroller, like a CPU. And this is very, very small, a little bit larger than the needle tip. So actually, this, when we talk about IoT or things everywhere or sensor everywhere, actually it is coming. And I want to talk about an idea called dark data. So the idea is like this, right? So for example, in this room, there are some data actually we could have been collecting. We can collect them right now, but actually we are not collecting them. So in this room, for example, if we can have some sensors on the carpet, we can track the occupancy rate of this room, right? We can do something. If we have a microphone sound pressure sensor, like in Calgary TC, we have sound pressure sensors. And then we can do some analysis, right? For example, which presentation receive most reaction, right? And, or we have some light sensor here. And there's something we can collect here. And we can use them. And we can make them useful or make them monetize those information. But we are not collecting them. So this idea about dark data. So we should shed some light to the dark data. Or the other one is called dark assets, which means there are some assets here, for example, or things, dark things, yeah? And then we can put sensor and connect them to the internet, but we are not doing it yet. For example, like the chair, the table, the carpet, the projector, the floors, the ceilings. Actually, they should be connected to the internet. And just they are not connected yet. So dark assets. So actually, I encourage you This is my daily exercise actually. When I'm entering a room, I go somewhere else, and I'm thinking, okay, I just pick a thing. And I pick a dark thing. That means it's not connected to the internet yet. And I think about it. Okay, so how can I connect that thing to the internet? And why? Actually, the question, why, is a more important question. So I want you to think about something. The weirder, the better. I give you 2 seconds. And I guarantee you that thing will be connected to the network very, very soon. So I'm going to show you some examples, all kinds of weird examples. And actually, I met a lot of interesting people. They try to connect different things to the network, and it's very, very interesting. So basically, the idea is whatever could be connected to the network, it will be connected to the network. The question becomes, it will be connected by you, or it connect for you. Yeah? Your home. So a lot of people have this. So I think the value proposition here is this. 40% of the North Americans, they are not like Japanese, right? Very tech savvy. I mean, North Americans, 40% don't know how to set thermostat properly. Okay, they put it there, and then just always 21 degrees. Yeah? And then so install a smart thermostat, can save 40% of the energy. Something like that. Your lock. It's a Canadian startup company called TO, and it's a Bluetooth connected lock. And the founder of this company told me that, so there's a company called Master Lock. It's a $2 billion company. And he said, okay, my lock is smarter, allow you to open it through the network, so my company worth $3 billion. Yeah, good luck. But actually, who can think of a lock company could be $2 billion company? And if you put intelligence in the lock, and you know how many times, how often, when, and where they are opened, right? You can create a lot of new applications. Your shirt, Hexoskin, is the other Canadian company from Montreal. And then right now, it's $399 each, right? If you go hexoskin.com, you can buy it. And then who are wearing them? Astronaut and the Canadian Olympian ski team, right? And track their breathing volume and their temperature and movement. And the founder told me that in a couple years, 2 or 3 years, it will be $99. And actually, if you go to a sports check or some sports store, a good shirt, actually, for exercise, costs about $70. So think about it, 70 and 99, but $99, only $20 or $30 more expensive, but give you the intelligence. So you can analyze, for example, you ski and snowboard, analyze your every jump. So that reminds you, okay, so your next jump, you should do better. Yeah? And only $30 more. And then people will buy it. It will be everywhere. Your drinks, vessel, $99 right now. It can tell you you are drinking a Pepsi or a Coke. Okay? And if you put there, it can tell you, okay, you shouldn't drink that much sugar. Or enough coffee for you. Or it can send a message to my wife, okay, Steve drinks too much coffee. Yeah? So something like that. Internet connected mugs. Your lights. This is a company called Enlightened, the above one. Yeah? And then they raised $55 million. And they put, actually it's a very simple sensor. It's an PIR, so like this one, infrared. So you analyze how many people passing by the sensor. And you can install that sensor attached to a light. So that you can analyze the moving patterns in the building, the light, temperature, and humidity. So the idea is to ensure for example, for a company, your employees have the best working condition so that they will just working for you full time. Or for casino, yeah, ensure you have the best environment, you just keep gambling, yeah? So $55 million company. And Hue is an internet connected light, right? So you can control your light for your best mood, according to your mood, for example. Your parking. And this is a company called Fiber. They put this in San Francisco for 2 years. And why? Actually, there's a survey that 40%, I don't know why. When you go to any major city, you spend 40% of your time trying to find a parking space. This is a bad user experience, right? If I drive to downtown, I want to find a parking space. Yeah? And then, so if you know your real-time parking availability, and then you can do on-demand pricing. Yeah? So if the parking space is getting fewer and fewer parking space available, and the price will go up, and the price go up, and then people will not drive there. And then so that for people who are willing to pay, they get to park. Good user experience, and also can manage the traffic and so on and so forth. Very clear value proposition here. And it's fiber, your bike, smart bike. So basic sensor for your bike. So when you try to turn left, and then if there's something like a bad driver behind you, they know, they warn you, right? And connected bikes. Your air noise, right? This smart season kit. So you can buy one and put it in your backyard, and you can monitor your own air and noise. Actually, I was talking to Toronto Star, the largest newspaper in Canada. And they are thinking, okay, newspaper, they told me, they know newspaper is dying. Yeah, everybody knows. But news will not die. So they see this as citizen sensing as a new form of media. So what is newspaper? To stimulate and engage local community, right? And to care about local issues. They see sensor networks or citizen sensing is a new form of media, and they can play a role in this to engage the local community. So actually we are working on a pilot in Toronto to put sensors in some people's backyard. For example, let's say they are building a subway, and they say, okay, before 7 a.m., they cannot start the construction, right? And if they have this kind of sensor, they know they start on time or not. Evidence-driven. Next one, your babies. Some people, they scare about raising baby. I think especially in Asia. I think Japan, Korea, and Taiwan has a very low birth rate. But they just need some help from technology. So internet connected babies. So they know the movement of the babies, the temperature of the babies, and when they wake up, when they go to bed, so that you can adjust your life accordingly. Analyze your baby's data. You can badass baby raiser. Your cat. Internet of cat litter. So basically, this is basically a scale, but you can analyze the growth rate of your kitten, and know how often your cat go poo. And then know the weight, track the weight of the cats. Internet of cats. When I say everything will be connected to internet, I'm serious about this. Your feet. This is a Canadian company, a French company, and she is a very young medical doctor, MD, and she has this startup company. Basically, it's put sensors, 21 sensors for it's a shoe, some shoe insert. So into your shoes, and basically I don't know details, but for diabetes patients, and if you become very serious, and you might lose your feeling for your feet, right? So you might put a lot of pressure on certain side of your feet, and at the end you lose your feet, lose the foot. And so they have these sensors to remind you, actually, or to tell the doctors, okay, this patient, the diabetes is getting worse and worse, And Internet of Feet, your health. So this is a company called Propeller Health. So basically, it's a smart inhaler. So when you use an inhaler, they know how much do you use, and when and where. And then with enough people to use this, and they can tell you, for example, if you also subscribe to this service and tell you, okay, in this area of, for example, Tokyo, and a lot of people are using inhaler, that means you might not want to go there. So actually, the other ideas about this is, when you connect your thing to the network, you transform the user experience. It's not just about the thing anymore. It's a user experience. It's a service. So actually now, they are not selling the inhaler. They are selling the data. They are selling their API. So it's not just a thing anymore. So actually, this is our opportunity because we are software people. And whenever we can virtualize things, we should be very happy about it because we can do amazing things. Even your jewelry are connected to the internet. So the first one is a June. It's a UV detector, right? So I think for Aussies it's very important because you have a big hole up there and UV just go down. And you do need to monitor your UV intake. And the bottom one is called ringlet. And basically it's a ring. I think it's very expensive, $199 or $299. And it's a real jewelry, but it's Bluetooth connected. So when you have a Facebook message, it rings. I want you to guess, what's this? Internet of something. This is the Internet of cows. Okay. So the question becomes, why? Why do we want to connect cows to the internet? So basically, this is a capsule, And how many stomachs a cow has? 4. So basically, the cow can swallow this and stay there for a long time. And this is the temperature, body temperature and pH monitor. So you know the cow's digestion. I wish I had this. Anyways, and it monitors temperature. And then why temperature? Because for cow milk production, they really want to get the cow, keep them pregnant all the time, so they can keep the production up. And then, so if you miss one cycle for pregnant, and then I think the statistics shows that you might lose 230 euros. So for the farmers, they really want to keep their cow and monitor the temperature of their cow so that they know when to get their cow pregnant. Very clear value proposition there. Internet of cows. However, so I show you a lot of weird things connected to network. Yeah, but I want to say, Internet of Things is irrelevant. It's not about connect the thing to the network. Yeah? Okay. You're like, oh, we spend so much time about Internet of Things, but right now it's irrelevant. Case study, connected Jolly Jumper. So my exercise, right? Look at a thing, connect to internet, and what can we do? So let's say we connect the Jolly Jumper to a network, right? What can we do and why? And so I can monitor the baby's movement, activity, or what? So think about this. So why people connect why people use, the parents use Jolly Jumper? I don't know the kid, but I heard when they need to distract the kid or they want to do something, so they constrain the kid into this. Yeah? So they can cook, they can clean their house. But they care about the well-being of the baby. So if you put a sensor over there, what if baby fall? Then you know. But the thing is, when you are cooking or you're cleaning, you're vacuuming, right? And the baby fall, I mean, you really want the whole house to tell you your baby has some issues. Yeah? So if you internet connect the Jolly Jumper, and then connect this as a service, and the service connect to your light, connect to your alarm, connect to your floors, right, or your windows. If the baby fall and windows open, light become red, and then your radio starts, right, and alarm just start, and really tells you your baby has some issues. Yeah. So you transform your user experience. So for the makers of Jolly Jumper, they don't make Jolly Jumper anymore. They make what? They are selling happy, healthy, and growing babies. That's a different user experience. So connect something to the network, transform user experiences. And if they can have enough Jolly Jumpers, and they can sell their data, so they can attract developers to use its API and develop some innovative applications. And so it's API the thing. Yeah? And actually, you'll find babies is the most connected thing, I assume. Because if you go to Apple Store, go and all the way down, turn left, you see the wall of connected babies. Your scale, the temperature sensor, and a lot of things. Babies are connected, very connected. So basically, Internet of Things is about service enablement. And the real potential of Internet of Things is about service enablement, because service transform user experience. And if you have enough, so if you transform it to services, and then you can have a network effect. So basically that means the value of the network is proportional to the square of the number of users of the system, or the things of the system. The more things in this network, and the more interesting applications you can develop. So that's the real value of IoT, in my opinion. So if you look at this value chain of IoT, and from left to the right, and value chain means the steps in order to do business. So you have a sensor, and the sensor connects to a smart thing, a gateway. And the gateway, you need some network operator, like Wi-Fi, your SoftBank, NTT Docomo, or Verizon, using different network. And then you need a device cloud API to connect the thing to the cloud. I use the cloud very loosely, yeah? So something in the network. And in the cloud, you have data analytics, yeah? Could be in the same server or different services, yeah? And at the end, for the app developers, the developers, they need an API to connect to the thing. So you need an app and cloud API. Finally, different apps and channels and users. So this is the value chain. So basically is every thing maker or a smartphone IoT application provider, they need to do from step 1 to step 7. So I want to mention about this actually, it's because IoT is really about sensor up the city, right? Put a lot of city sensors so that you can measure and provide evidence for your cities. And then the key here is how smart is city. So one of the measure could be how fast can you move in the IoT value chain. Say for a city, if they are able to deploy a sensor, so move from the first step all the way to the users, the faster actually, and they can collect more, the faster and cheaper, they can collect more data. And they can be more adaptive. So the idea is how much friction. So maybe you can have this matrix is a smart city means they try to reduce the friction as much as possible so that they can put more sensors or collect more data from their things and to provide evidence and to make their decisions, informed decision making. So it's really about the friction reduction. Just one idea I threw out there. However, if you look at today's IoT system, ecosystem, so I propose or mention a lot of things to you, right? All those things. Unfortunately, they are all silos. Propeller, fiber, enlightened nest, they are all silos. And then that means how to interconnect them is very difficult. That means the friction is very, a lot of friction. And there are a lot of companies that try to be the cloud for everything. And they all try to be that. However, really, for such a large network, okay, do you really want to see a cloud for everything? Yeah? It means high risk, short product life cycle, vendor locking, all those things. If you actually choosing a cloud, actually it's like marriage, you know? You marry to the cloud, and then at the beginning, the cloud provider tell you, I will treat you very well, the price is low, and 24/7, 99% of availability. And once they become dominant, right, they start to abuse you, spousal abuse, right? And then raise the price, and then the availability go down because there's no competitor, right? So they can do whatever they want, right? That's a bad thing. So actually, think about your marriage and think about open ecosystem. That's a good thing. So OGC SensorThings API is a standard, and then so provides open ecosystem. So hopefully we can have the hopefully the SensorThings API can be a relevant standard, so that the thing providers they can provide open up their things as a service using a standard API, and so that the difficulty or the friction of connecting different things will be lower. And then our city will be smarter because we are able to deploy things very, very quickly and compose different things and for new application very, very easily. So I think I'm preaching to the wrong crowd here, but for whoever will watch this video, join the open IoT ecosystem. Do not use vendor locking APIs. That's evil. Don't do that. Try SensorThings. Criticize it, or better yet, improve it. And actually, we have for SensorThings right now, we have 3 different implementations already. One in Finland, one in Germany, and one is in Canada. And then that's a server implementation. The client implementation, there are more. And if you can contribute, or you want to contribute, write an open source library and become part of the ecosystem and promote it in your community. And do no evil. Thank you. So I want to conclude this. So sensor up and make your application thankful, and then join this ecosystem. Thank you. Questions? No question.
No, you have surely somebody's got questions. There's no way you can watch a presentation like that and not have some questions. But actually think your wife's probably got some questions after that one. It's brave to do that sort of presentation when she's in the audience.
Thank you, Steve. Enlightening as usual. So who's going to manage the security of all these devices? And who's going to maintain?
Andreas. Somehow this question come up every time. Privacy and security. Yeah. I think a different layer.
And maintenance, because you're
maintenance.
talking about having a lot of things like LEDs and putting sensors everywhere, and someone has to go and physically install some of these things into like smart lampposts.
I think maintenance is easier in this case because there will be business cases. Yeah, so let the business to handle that, and you pay for open system, right? And they are different business model. They have their way to maintain it. If you pay for it, it provides you better availability, and then they maintain it. Yeah, but for security and I think a different layer in my opinion, it's a different layer. So just like it's like this. In the past, people think, okay, I'm not going to use my credit card to pay online. It's not secure. But it's more acceptable right now. There are more different layers and like different providers provide you that security layer so that you trust the system and you pay online. I think it's similar in Internet of Things. Those layers will come. And somebody have a different idea.
No,
Yes.
it's just either you want to have your privacy, or you want to have your privacy, or you want to have Internet of Things, right? If you make your mind up for online banking, then that's online banking, whatever it requires.
Yes.
And if you want to have your baby's heartbeat up on the internet and everyone can see it, then that's your decision. So there is no privacy. Privacy kicks in when there is a government, for example, making a service to you available, and you have to use it for some legal interaction to file your how's it called, at the end of the year, your income? Tax return, thank you, all of that stuff, right? And there is no alternative, so there's no paper format. Then privacy is something that kicks in because they must make sure something. They must have your thing that you accept that they keep your personal information in their electronic system with the notice that that stuff may get stolen and misused, and all of them you need to agree that. But because you have the alternative, you can send in your paper record, then all of that is not a problem anymore because it is your personal information cannot be electronically processed. So here, I guess, it's your free will to participate, so there is no such beast as privacy around. That's my take on this.
Okay, so that wasn't, maybe I phrased it incorrectly. What I'm talking about is things like security.
So if you're on a life support machine and it's all been done by Internet of Things, and someone can suddenly hack in and switch off your machine,
There's no liability either. You see, there's no liability. You do it just for the fun of it. There is no there is no legal thing for you, and you cannot sue them. It's your free will to participate, right? If on the other hand you have a self-moving car and they promise you it will never wreck into something and it does, then you can sue them. Here I think they are smart enough to take it away. I mean, get away with everything.
So I think one of the things we can do is, through active prototyping, recommend different best practices. I mean, there are a whole plenty of different security protocols out there on the web that are useful. I don't think any of them are infallible. Just back to your comment about the pacemaker, I know the former vice president of the U.S. had the Bluetooth turned off when he had his pacemaker put in because they were afraid somebody would hack it. So this is a real problem, and I think Andreas has got a point. There's some things where it's probably a level of don't care, and there are other things where you care a lot, and you're going to put different levels of security and access on those things. But I think the best thing to do is to do what we've been doing in the past, which is to demonstrate the framework in the context of open standard security layers. I know in the U.S. they have it's called an Information Sharing Interoperability Framework, which is being issued out of the Office of Director of National Intelligence, which talks about cyber and security and geospatial, and they're recommending different protocols for government-wide security. So I think those best practice recommendations make a lot of sense as we move this forward.
Back through. Any other questions for Steve? No? No?
Coffee time.
No, actually, first of all, I want to know, so in terms of the new standard coming out, what applications are you guys working on at the moment that will be utilising SensorThings that people can go and look at?
For applications, I mentioned about the news media, right?
Yeah.
The sensors for that. And then, there are a lot, but
Give me the top ones that everybody should go and have a look at to be able to give to people as an example.
actually, I think everything I just mentioned, they shall use SensorThings API. And then, but for now in academia, we see more citizen sensing stuff, right? Like the news media I just mentioned, and we're working on something about biodiversity in Alberta because of oil sands monitoring stuff. And then, yeah, citizen sensing stuff. If you want to play. Oh, by the way, if you want to play around, you can, always buy a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, all kinds of Arduinos, and then for your own Christmas gift. And then we have library for SensorThings. You can try it, and then it'll be very good Christmas for you, actually. Yeah, for this crowd, right? Well, geeks, right? Pathetic. Anyways, yeah.
Excellent. So we've all got your Christmas list sorted out now to go and play with SensorThings. Okay, any questions? Half an hour or so worth of break, and then we're into the last section of the day, which is will be kicked off by George, and will be part more of a discussion component in terms of where we go to next in terms of smart cities. So go and enjoy your break.